All right, welcome back. Too many generals in our final story tonight. It's not just a conservation issue anymore. The fight to stop poaching has gone international. That's good news. South Africa has joined forces with global organizations to hunt down criminal syndicates killing our animals. So, drones, radar, GPS software, just some of South Africa's arsenal of weapons in the fight against poaching. But it isn't enough. With the involvement of criminal syndicates in the multi-billion rand illegal trade in wildlife, the fight to save our rhinos and elephants has gone global. Tonight, we speak to General Johan Jooste of SANParks and Isham Abeda from the Department of Environmental Affairs, Deputy DG, about the use of technology and the global fight against illegal wildlife trade. To both of you, a very warm welcome. General, to you first of all, why are we still losing this poaching battle?
We will only have a total win one day when there's no demand or a manageable demand. Currently, we have a medium or an average win because we're driving the numbers down. We're working towards a strong win where we must collapse the crime networks, and that will require a mammoth effort from all security agencies and communities.
What does a mammoth effort mean?
It means that there must be synergies, that we've got to work very closely together, coordinate very well, and try our best to allocate the resources that this warrants from all departments, knowing that there are other priorities.
But we've known about this for such a long time. The numbers are absolutely horrific. We'll put some statistics up on the screen for you in just a moment. Why are we failing to achieve this lack of synergy?
I think, Jeremy, you have to contextualize the situation. In order to get the synergies that the General is talking about, you must remember that this has become much more than just poaching. It's a transnational organized criminal network. It's the fourth largest crime after drugs, human trafficking, what's the other one?
Contraband.
And contraband.
Yep.
Yeah. So essentially, it's becoming more and more sophisticated. The criminals are becoming more and more sophisticated. And you need that coordination at an international level. We're doing that coordination at a continental level, a regional level, and then at an operational level. So I think if you look at the logistics involved there, just getting cooperation between countries, mutual legal assistance, getting focal points in countries to assist you if they make a find in another country so you can relate it back to the DNA database here. It's huge.
But, General Jooste, to mix metaphors here, this is all too late. The rhino has already bolted. You're simply overwhelmed by the numbers and the sophistication that Isham refers to.
In all fairness, Jeremy, we could arrest this. Few countries in the world could arrest a scourge like we had, and now we're driving it down. This year's figures will tell the story at the end of the year.
What are those figures? Give us a preview.
We have the figures that was released by our late minister end of August, where there is 200 down from the previous year. Now that's still not good. But the fact that we could do that, the fact that we add to that biological management to make sure that we maximize the population growth, and a number of other measures taken, it can be done. It's not as if the rhino will go extinct. We don't foresee that.
We're coming pretty damn close, aren't we?
No, sir. No, we've lost a lot of rhino. But still, if you look at the thousands of rhino in South Africa, if you look at the private sector, the provincial parks and the national parks, there are thousands of rhino left, and it is up to us to make sure that with this intervention, we get the strong win now.
To what extent is this a lack of proper intelligence?
Well, I think from the intelligence plays a very, very important role, and I think, as I explained to you,
that's a given.
Yeah, to get that cooperation from our international partners, our local partners, that is an issue, and I think we've moved from where we were in 2014, and that we're starting to see the results of that intelligence, and part of it is through the use of that technology. We've got a system now where we actually interact with all the provinces. We're rolling that system out nationally. It was pioneered and piloted in SANParks. It's a situational analysis system that allows us to share real-time data and real-time intelligence. So we think that there's definitely been an improvement, and there is a downward trend. It's not much, but there is definitely a downward trend, and part of that, if you contextualize it in relation to the number of incursions into the park, So there's more incursions, but there's less rhino being killed. So from that perspective, we are doing something right.
It's about the analysis then of the data. That's what I'm hearing. Give me an example of the type of data that you're collecting and how that then benefits this fight against this global mafia that exists.
You've got to take information, convert it into intelligence, then convert it into actionable intelligence and then into evidence. Because the victory over poaching will not occur in the bush, it will occur in the court, where people are convicted and sentenced.
General, I have no idea what you've just told me. What kind of data, how do you convert that into intelligence? How does that actually work?
You take tactical information, that's what happens in your park, how many incursions, what are the modus operandi, what are the trends and tendencies. You collate that and you process that with sophisticated software and well-trained people. And then you create a collaborative platform. When I sit here, I must be able to talk to somebody in Namibia, somebody in another province, and we must see the same picture to make sure that ultimately you get ahead. Ultimately, you know ahead of time. You do predictive modeling and not only history.
I mentioned drones, which I guess is a good thing, but a lot of that, particularly we talk about incursions, surely is also predicated on having feet on the ground.
Absolutely. And drones is just one form of technology that's used. I mean, there's various things, and some of them are perimeter-based. So there's different things, and obviously we don't want to tell everybody what we're using, but there's
fully understand that, yeah.
Different forms of technology. And I think from prevention, because technology is involved in prevention, from actually preventing them from getting into the park, killing the actual rhino, to detection afterwards, for example, the DNA, the microchipping that we use. So technology along the entire chain is invaluable.
General, in order for you to do your job properly, do you have enough money?
No, sir, but we are well-resourced. People often say there's not political will. So there is political will. I can testify to that, and I don't have to sugarcoat anything. We also were fortunate to get good grants and good donations. The South African Rangers are some of the best equipped on the continent and in the world. We could spend 300 million on technology, which is expensive, but if you look at the value of the asset, it warrants it. Let me also hasten to add that technology makes things possible. Only people make it happen. So we look at our people. We look well after our people in terms of equipment, training, and their benefits and their wellness. One will always need more resources. We're not the only department and not the only service like this in the world that needs more money, but we are well-resourced for this task. And we have access to our leadership, line leadership and political leadership, to ensure that it remains well-resourced.
You're confident in a quick reply that you'll get to a point where we stop seeing these horrific images of butchered animals?
I think it's going to take us some time, but we definitely, that's our goal, to reduce numbers, and we've set targets for ourselves to ensure that we reduce the numbers on an annual basis. I think, as with any other crime, if you look at drug trafficking, for example, there'll always be drug trafficking, human trafficking, there'll always be. But in terms of actually managing it, as the General says, managing the asset and reducing the numbers, and it's not only about the anti-poaching initiatives. You were talking earlier about the numbers. So we need to look at alternative strategies. So moving them to another country, for example, ensuring that your breeding increases, those kind of things. So it's an integrated strategy. We're not only looking at one aspect, and that's the anti-poaching aspect.
I'd like to think that I speak for all South Africans when I say strength to what you're doing, because it is an important fight. It really is a war. So thank you very much for joining us. General Johan Joost of Sandparks, Isham Abada from the Department of Environmental Affairs.